Hello everyone, Rurkan here coming at you with another video. Welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV, and today we're going to be talking about the 2.5 seconds global cooldown of Final Fantasy XIV, because it seems to be a point that is always brought whenever people are talking about Final Fantasy XIV. They're like, oh my god, the global cooldown of that game is just so slow. You just start playing the game and you're sitting there waiting for hours on end to press your abilities because those 2.5 seconds take forever. And I understand that this is a big point because a lot of people that do come to Final Fantasy XIV, they usually end up coming from World of Warcraft, where the global cooldown for most characters is 1.5 seconds. That's 1 whole second faster, for every single time that you cast an ability. So you're just like, wow, in World of Warcraft, I use a lot more abilities. They come off faster and all of this jazz, because when you start playing Final Fantasy XIV, it does feel slow. It's definitely a fact. But today, I'm here with what I would consider to be my main job, which is the Paladin. And the Paladin is, for all intents and purposes, one of the simpler classes in Final Fantasy XIV. And this is just to tell you guys that some of the stuff that I'm going to tell you is for again, what is considered one of the simpler classes in Final Fantasy XIV's rotation. That means that if you start looking at something like maybe a summoner, I always hear like the horror stories of playing a summoner and how you need to be like a piano player to keep up with everything that you got to do for that particular class. So I'm just going to show you one of the simpler ones to give you guys an idea, right? So the global cooldown, just to show you guys what it looks like. If you guys look at my bars, I'm playing with a controller, which makes this, a little bit awkward to use the mouse and then the controller and whatnot. I just like playing with the controller more. Go ahead. Say that I'm a casual, whatever the hell you want. I don't care. I think controller actually plays great in Final Fantasy XIV. But anyway, I'm just going to do my regular AoE attack, which is this. And you'll notice that the time that it takes all these abilities to come back online, that's the 2.5 seconds that everybody is talking about. You can see the little circle spinning around. Those are your 2.5 seconds of global cooldown. Now, the thing is, when you're starting the game, you have very few abilities. So like when you start the Paladin, your first ability that you get is your Fast Blade. So like I can go up to a striking dummy and just go Fast Blade. And then you wait, Fast Blade. Then you wait, Fast Blade. So that does feel slow if you're just sitting here waiting for your Fast Blade, right? Eventually you get a couple of more things. So you get Fast Blade, you get Riot Blade. So you go Fast Blade, Riot Blade, and you can see the auto attack going in between, right? These are like the two abilities that you get. And I can see why this would feel slow for some people, because again, you're used to your faster cooldown from another game, so it is what it is. But when you start leveling up, you start getting abilities that aren't necessarily connected to the global cooldown. These are actually just called abilities. So for instance, in that particular time that it takes you for the global cooldown, the 2.5 seconds, with the Paladin, in between the time that those 2.5 seconds are passing, you can also do Circle of Scorn, which is an instant ability that you can do, and it does this. Now this is an AoE attack that also causes dots on the mobs, right? Then you also have Spirits Within, which you can also do. I can't do it now without having a target. We'll go to the striking dummy in just a minute and do it again. But you also have Spirits Within, which you can do in between your global cooldown. You also have Fight or Flight, which is a damage buff that does not require global cooldown. So you can be in between your global cooldown and buff your damage. You also have Requiescat, which is something that starts your own different magical combo for the Paladin. And that also does not require a global cooldown. So you can literally be finishing your regular physical attack combo, and then you pop a Requiescat right while you're still waiting for that global GCD. The other thing is Intervene, which is very similar to, if you've played World of Warcraft, it's similar to a Warrior's Charge. So essentially this is your gap closer, and it also deals damage. So you can also do that without needing to worry about the global cooldown. You also have all of your tanking cooldowns. So I got my Sentinel in here, my Rampart, my Arm's Length, my Reprisal. This Reprisal is also macroed together with Sheltron. Sheltron is another ability, which if you have enough of your gauge, you can do Sheltron. You do not need to worry about the global cooldown for that. So just think about how many actions I've just told you, and that's not even all of them, but like in between those 2.5 second, in between that 2.5 second cooldown, you can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, it's a little bit, I'm exaggerating because naturally you're not going to be expected to use all of these 11 abilities at once, right? But like in between those 2.5 global cooldown, you have all of these options available to you for all of these other abilities that you can be using. So when people say, oh, the game is so slow, like once you start leveling up, the game gets a lot faster. And bear in mind, like I've been saying, this is one of the easier classes to play. So the more complex your class gets, like I mentioned, like the summoner, because a lot of people always talk about the summoner, or even potentially the gunbreaker. A lot of people also talk about the continuation combo of the gunbreaker and how that requires also a lot of juggling around because there's a lot of stuff that you can weave in between the GCDs. And that's what people call when you put an ability in the middle of a GCD, they call it weaving in this game. But when you take all of those other things into consideration, it becomes quite different. So to give you guys an idea of like an opener for the Paladin, for instance, you can be doing Fast Blade, Riot Blade, and then while Riot Blade is going, you do your buff, and then you go into your Goring Blade, and then while that is going, you do Spirits Within and Circle of Scorn, and then you go right back in to Fast Blade, into Riot Blade. Don't forget to do your Sheltron in between, get your Royal Authority in, and then you start doing this. I don't even know the name of this ability. I just know that I'm supposed to do it now. In between that, you could have also done a couple of charges there that I didn't really do. Then we're going to reapply our dot using this particular combo here. And then we're going to go for Requiescat, and we're going to get instant casts for Holy Spirit. And then we're going to do Holy Spirit 4 times, and then we're going to finish off with a Requi. And in between that, we could have been doing Circle of Scorn and Spirits Within, except I was slacking. So as you see, I'm even missing abilities right now. And this is one of these simpler classes simply because I'm trying to focus on what I'm presenting to you guys at the same time that I'm trying to do the rotation. So again, whenever somebody tells you that there is a global cooldown problem in Final Fantasy XIV, ask that person exactly how far did you play the game? Level 10? Level 15 maybe? And that's when you thought your class was slow? Try leveling up to like 60, 70, and then see if you still have the same idea. And the example that I showed you right there was just me playing Paladin, which, like I said, is considered to be one of the simpler classes when it comes to its rotation against a targeting dummy. Now, you have to picture this in a different situation, like the one that I'm presenting to you right now on the video, which is going to be that of, say, a raid situation, for instance, where there's a bunch of mechanics happening at the same time, and you have to keep tabs on all of these mechanics while also maintaining your class rotation for optimal DPS, because ultimately, if you are doing something a little bit harder, because the raid that I'm showing you is going to be a normal raid, because I don't really do Savage content right now, because I don't have a static, I just don't have enough time to put into Party Finder, wiping and all that stuff. So I'm just doing like a normal raid to show you an example of what this can look like in a bit of a more chaotic environment where you're actually dodging a bunch of mechanics and you're still trying to maintain your rotation to the best of your ability. And in a normal raid, you can make mistakes, you can drop your rotation, it's not going to be the end of the world. You can fail a couple of mechanics, maybe you'll even die, and a healer will pick you back up. But when you're talking about a Savage raid or an ultimate, epic ultimate, whatever it's called, the harder stuff, like that is going to be something that quite simply cannot happen. You cannot drop your rotation, because if you do, you're probably not going to have enough damage to, finish the boss. He's going to enrage. And that means not just for DPSers, but also for tanks and healers, because tanks and healers in Savage raiding environment also have to deal damage, so they have to keep up with their respective tasks of either tanking a mob or dodging mechanics or keeping your party healed, and at the same time maintaining optimal uptime in their damage rotations. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about, 2.5 second GCD, it's so long, so slow. Yeah, not quite like that. But anyways, this is just to kind of bring forth this particular topic, because just yesterday I saw a video where Asmongold was like watching some stuff about Final Fantasy XIV, a video from a 15-year WoW veteran or something. And one of the points that he brought up was like, the global cooldown, the 2.5 global cooldown, and I'm just like, yeah, you do understand that, like, especially considering that Asmongold plays a warrior, I've played a warrior, like, trust me, pretty much any class in this game, once you get to max level, is like 10 times more complex than playing a warrior in World of Warcraft, okay? But anyways, that's going to be it for this video. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button. If you guys not enjoyed the video, hit the dislike button. Feedback is always important. But yeah, if you guys usually enjoy this content, make sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell notification icon. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay strong, stay safe. Peace out.